Good morning and welcome to our weekly men's volleyball press conference. We will start the press conference with an opening statement from head coach Alan Knipe, and then we'll open it up to questions for coach.
Yeah, we last week was a really good week for us as far as it's been kind of a plan here for a couple of weeks of putting everything kind of together. What I mean by that is having an opportunity to go pretty deep into our bench and play a lot of guys from what I've been seeing in the gym. And getting them out there under the lights and playing against opponents has been so great for the guys, for their own confidence and for their own, for what's good for our culture and the vibe of our gym. But it's also been good to showcase the talent and for them to transfer what they're doing in the gym to the court. And obviously that helped us on Friday night, all that work, because we got to get De'Aris out there, and we got to get, obviously Nathan Harlan was great. Those are all really good things as we move forward. So I thought the week was good, the training week was good. I thought the match against Lewis was really good. It was a kind of a unique match, kind of a weird feel to it, because we played a pretty tight first set to about 20 and then pulled away and just didn't play a very good second set. It really was the first half of the second set. I thought from about 15 on to the rest of the match we played pretty well. But we put ourselves in that situation, and that's no disrespect to Lewis, because I thought they played really well. They played hard. They're well coached. They blocked the ball well. They did some good things offensively. But I thought that it forced our guys to have to deal with the loss of the second set, and make some adjustments to some of the things that we were doing of how we play tactically. And then obviously we inserted a few new pieces, which was a whole unique new experience too. So there was a lot of growth that happened, and I thought they played better and better as the match went on. And now we get the opportunity this week to prep from what we've learned, and to have a good opponent in Penn State, a well-coached team, a good team, experienced team, come in here on Friday night. And that'll be great in its own right, but the most important thing for us will be this week of how we prep for that from the lessons learned. And as you've heard me say many, many times, you can learn as much from a win as you can from a loss. So it's a matter of taking the real information that we can apply individually and collectively to our gym for Friday night and keep making this weekly growth. Also on Friday night, we'll be honoring Tom Hoff and at the Alumni House at 5 before there's a reception, and then at 7 o'clock dropping his uniform dropping from the rafters in the pyramid with a very special group that's already up there. It'll be a fun night. I know there'll be a ton of alumni here. It's Legends Night, so there'll be a ton of alumni here to celebrate Tom. And I know Coach Rattel is planning to be here, who was the head coach before I was, and Mike D'Alessandro, who was the assistant coach at the time Tom was here. And Brent Hilliard and Brett Winslow, whose jerseys are hanging up there, will be here on the floor with Tom to welcome him to a pretty special group. So that should be all fun, and it's going to be a pretty quick ceremony before the game, and then hopefully a great match on Friday night.
Coach, obviously all of that being taken into consideration, and then we have pretty much a top 10 matchup between two really talented and storied teams. What could we all expect from this week, and how much excitement can we all anticipate for this Friday's events and match?
Yeah, I think that I have a ton of respect for Penn State's program, and a lot of respect for Mark Pavlik and what he's done for a long time at Penn State. They're always a very well-coached team, prepared team, talented team, and a team that makes a lot of postseason appearances. So, I'm sure they're excited to come out on their West Coast swing. We're always excited to host them. We played in State College last year. They were here the year before that, and so Penn State is a team that our fans know that they see on the schedule pretty regularly, and I'm sure they're anticipating a good match, as are we, and we look forward to getting after it on Friday night. But as always, the most important thing is this week. And when I say this week, Monday to Thursday preps us for what we want to do on Friday. So we're going to stay in that space.
For fans, how different would you say that with Lewis's jump float serving compared to how Penn State was probably going to be a lot more aggressive in terms of jump spin serving? How different can that be in terms of practicing during the week?
Well, yeah, we try really hard to balance our gym as far as percentage of serve receive attempts, making sure that we don't get heavy one way or the other. So we call them flexes in our gym. So if you're playing against a team that's a heavy jump serve team, but they make a tactical change in the middle of the match and go to float, and you didn't prepare for that all week, that could be a problem. So we try to prepare that, hey, this team is they go for it from the end line. They also have some guys that top spin but keep it in, and then they have some float serve guys. Well, if they should switch that up or go heavy one way or the other, because usually what happens is a team, if they lose a set or maybe two, then there'll be a response in some way. Maybe the response would be tactical, it might be personnel, it might be emotionally, but a lot of times it's from service pressure. So you got to be flexible going in and out that. So I would imagine Penn State will be a good serving team like they normally are, with a lot of good heat from the end line, a lot of good arms. They'll have the ability to be tactical, which means that we're going to have to continue to dial in what we do serve receive in our gym, because they're not going to stay with just one thing. That's not what the best teams in the country do.
And then, sorry. And then for your team, your offense obviously looked great, but the defense was just flying all over the place. You had double-digit blocks and a bunch of digs. What can you say about the defense, and how much does your team pride yourself in defense?
Yeah, I think that's a great question that we don't get asked a whole lot. You know, the team blocks a lot of balls, and it's hard to dig a ball when it's blocked. And if you can figure out how to do that, let me know. But that takes away opportunities. But obviously, aces and blocks make it a lot easier to score a point than it does a dig, set, and a hit. But we take a lot of pride in that we're definitely not a one-trick type team. You know, we don't live with just our serve or just our block. We pride ourselves on how hard our team works on their floor defense to be able to go, we call creates, and get creates to turn into converts, which are the set and the kill. This program was founded on defense. You know, Mike D'Alessandro, when he was here as an assistant coach, demanded every player to be able to play defense, be able to dive and dig balls, and that as a product of Mike, both at Orange Coast and at Long Beach with him, that's in my DNA. So my teams, I want to be able to dig the ball. We will play as hard as we possibly can. At the same time, I love the block side of the game, so I think it's a nice combination. But we actually did not have our best blocking night against Lewis, and even though we blocked some balls, and I think a lot of those came late in the match, we won the transition game and scored points on Friday night because of our defense, because of Mason and Aiden digging a ton of balls in both Area 1 and Area 5, and Sodi and Clark, and then when Nate Harlan came in, running balls down all over the Terraflex. So that was something we've been pushing in our gym. So for people to see it and for you to highlight it, I appreciate that, and that'll go a long way with our guys, that there's a lot of ways to win a volleyball game, and digging the ball is one of them.
One of the people digging the ball during that game, or at least two of them, were your middle blockers. They were giving out extra effort as well. How much do they train in the back row just as much as the front row?
Absolutely. You know, before the libero was introduced into volleyball, middle blockers had to play the game. You know, they had to pass and jump serve, serve, receive. They had to play defense. They had to be able to set the ball, and that kind of went away in a lot of programs because they're out for so much of the back row. But I've always believed this idea of being a middle blocker, that you just have to hit and block, sometimes hit, block, and serve, is cheapening the fact of what an athlete they are. And so we train our middles to be great athletes, not just middle blockers. In our world, in our gym, the term "be a middle blocker" is not a positive one. You know, in the sense of being a middle, meaning if all I can do is hit and block, that's not what our middles aspire to be. So we push hard on their defense, their setting. their all-round volleyball skill, because, being from the generation that middles had to do all that, I know it's possible. But what the problem is that those middles through club and high school right now, they just don't get the reps, because it's not going to help their team very much, because, they're not going to get a whole lot of attempts. But that hurts that player, because in what I've noticed in big matches, whether it be international or it be national championships or playoff games, you're going to have that time that it's going to be 23 all or 26 all, whatever, and the middle's going to be serving, or he's going to have to pass the ball, or he's going to have to dig a ball, or you're going to have him set a ball because the libero's off the court. So if you're not going to invest in it, you certainly can't complain about it when the middle blocker can't make contact on the ball properly when you need him to. So that being said, the end of that long answer is our middles pride themselves in our ball control work and practice of being a great athlete and a great volleyball player, not a middle blocker.
And then I know you haven't gotten to this point, and you still have one more match before conference play, but what can you say about your team's performance overall through the first half of the season going into Friday's match?
Yeah, I think it's been a unique year so far. The fact that during our fall, we have multiple fall competitions that we're allowed to compete in, and for most of those competitions, we had the vast majority of our starting lineup out with injuries. They didn't play in those fall dates. And that was frustrating, because you really didn't know what the feel, the vibe, how the team was really going to shape up. But the positive, and I think from doing this for a while, you got to find a way to get a positive. And the positive is we were getting lots of guys, the Sebasanis, the Lazars, the guys that were getting some reps. When we flipped Clark to the left, he was getting tons of reps there. Daniil and Nato on the right. And we're getting all these reps in that are serving us really well now in matches and in practice. So when all the guys were healthy enough as we came back from the break and started the season in January, I don't think we were as clean as we were hoping to be, because we were trying to make up for lost ground. But the talent and the work ethic and the attention to detail, we quickly kind of figured that out. And now I think we're just we've had a nice first half. But more importantly, we're really just starting to kind of figure ourselves out, which is exciting for me as the coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.